Hey y'all, welcome back to the Late Night Vision Show. This is episode number 46. I am Jason, owner of Outdoor Legacy, and I've got my co-host and good friend Hans from the HansETX YouTube channel. Hey Hans, what's going on?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm going to tell you, I put out a video not that long ago, and my buddies texted me and they said, Hans, it looks like you got in a bar fight, because I got a big red thing on my face. If you're looking on YouTube right now, it does look like I got in a bar fight, but basically just took a right hook from a branch walking through the woods one night, and my eyes all scarred up and everything else, but I'm fine.
I actually
Don't
suspect that has something to do with you not taking the trash out, and Crystal was tired of it. You know,
Well,
you don't have to be scared. There is a phone number you can call for
Yeah.
spousal abuse, and if you need to call that number, we can find you a safe place, Hans.
I did accuse my wife of punching me in the middle of the night without me knowing it. Woke up and my eye was swollen. So I did accuse her of that. I couldn't get away with it too bad.
Well, yeah. I wouldn't blame her if she punched you in the middle of the night, but whatever. That's all good.
Hey, we got some exciting news, don't we?
We do. Folks, this is something that's been coming for a long time. A lot of work has gone into this. Hans has goaded me about getting this done. I was in charge of this project, and any project that you put me in charge of, especially during busy thermal season, is going to take a while to get done.
7 months ago.
It's 7, 8, whatever. But we want to announce the launching of thelatenightvisionshow.com. We have a website that is up and it is live. Again, you can go to the URL, thelatenightvisionshow.com. And we've got a lot of stuff there. We're going to be putting more and more. We literally just got it launched about a week ago. And you can check out all of our latest YouTube videos when you go there. The first one will be right there. You can play it on the page. The first one is always up top, and there's several other videos there, and lots of great stuff.
Yeah, so, in the future, this is going to be something where you can go and there'll be future blog posts from the host. You can meet the host and read some short bios about Jason and I if you're bored and don't have nothing else to do.
Bathroom reading material.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like Jason said, you're going to be able to go to the website and see the latest of the podcast. If you get behind, you can catch up. It's easy to find them, easy way to watch and keep up with the show and keep up with topics. There's quick links in there that'll go to all of Jason's company stuff, outdoorlegacygear.com, and all of his socials. You can go to my socials. So it really looks great. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a great way for everybody to find our stuff easy. And so, yeah, y'all go check it out, thelatenightvisionshow.com. And in the future, I see us being able to have all of the listeners register on there with email address. That way you can be alerted for any news, even maybe any new products coming out down the road, or new shows and stuff. So, yeah.
I was actually talking to the programmer this evening about that. I told him we wanted that in there. He's working on that right now. So hopefully that'll be something that we have soon, maybe even by the time this podcast airs. But he's working on that. I know. I think that we're going to, in the future, he's working on some of this right now where we can have some sign-ups for, do giveaways and those sort of things. We've kind of done some in the past and geared them around social media. But honestly, this is something that Hans and I have both agreed on, is that we want to reward our listeners on these giveaways. I don't want to just, give something away to some random guy on Instagram who liked our pages and whatever just to win something and then leave. We know there's a lot of y'all that tune in every single week or as often as you can, and those are the people that we want to reward as our loyal listeners. So we're working on some ways to do that, and we'll do some giveaways. And so I'm excited about it. We've also, something else I think that we've just toyed with the idea. We're going to find a way to do it. I'm going to go, Hans surprises me on the show and says things, and then we're like stuck with it because he said it. So I'm going to do it. We're going to make some t-shirts. We're going to make some shirts, get some stuff, and I don't know, maybe caps. We'll see. Shirts are first. We're going to go with shirts. And speaking of caps, if you want one of the very famous, beautiful, sought after HansETX caps. If you look at any of Hans's videos or his pictures on Instagram. He's always wearing his signature cap with his logo, and they look really good. A nice mesh back cap with camo, a cool looking pattern. Hans got a bunch of those made up, and he has them for sale on the Outdoor Legacy website at outdoorlegacygear.com. You can go there. You can search for Hans or HansETX. You can search for cap. You can go to the accessories. That's where it's at. But if you go to thelatenightvisionshow.com, from there you can get over to the Outdoor Legacy Gear website as well. So anyway, I just want to give a shout out to those caps. Shockingly, we were pretty convinced that when we put them on the website, he would sell around 2 per year, and he actually was. The numbers have really surprised me. The number of people.
Yeah, far exceeded expectation. So I'm thankful. Thankful for everybody. Everybody, we've sold quite a few, and man, if I ever need some oceanfront property sold, I'm going to call you in Arizona. But thank you for that plug. But y'all go check out the website, thelatenightvisionshow.com. But man, I want to get to our interviews with Glenn Guest. We had 2 of them. You haven't checked them out, go check them out on YouTube because they're really cool to see. But I have received more phone calls, more Instagram messages about the Convergent collar than I think I have about any other show that we've done, and people wanting to know more about it. And I think the idea of being able to call in hogs is exciting, and I think there's a lot of hunters out there that are like us that are just plain lazy and don't want to have to walk around very far. So being able to bring the hogs to you is an exciting thing to them. But man, the buzz about that has been great.
Well, I'm going to tell you that I absolutely agree. I know the Convergent calls have been popular. They've been growing in popularity, but I think the buzz is just picking up, and I think that they're a company to watch because I think that they're definitely on the cutting edge, and these are quality products. And I tell you something, you're going to hear a lot more about Convergent from Hans and I both, and we're fixing to get into a little bit of that. But I'm going to say this up front. This was never our intention. So when we reached out to Glenn, we wanted to talk to him just because of who he was and what he did, and calling in hogs. We got him. We started talking to him. We started hearing about the benefits of the Convergent. He convinced us of why we needed to go out and buy them as soon as we started talking to him, before we ever even aired the first show. And we've gone out, and I shouldn't say got our hands on. We bought them. Okay, so I don't want anybody to think that they sent them to us. We bought them and paid for them. And I'm going to let Hans kind of just go in here, but he and I both are just sold. Yeah,
so we had Glenn on. He gave us some tips. But when we did those interviews, I had not taken it out at all. I don't even think we had him in yet. So I've had the collar for 7 days now, and I'm completely blown away. Now, I do want to give the listeners some tips and tricks and things that you can mess up and things to do right. But on my first real experience with using the collar, I was able to call in 2 boars in 2 different locations from 400 and 500 yards away. And these were hogs that were what they call cruiser boars. They're just running through an area. I turned the collar on as quick as I could. They stopped in their tracks and immediately came right to us on 2 different occasions. Now, I've tried to call hogs in the past, been very unsuccessful at doing it, very frustrated, and gave up on it completely. And I've heard of hog zombies. I know Glenn Guest. He's famous in the hog hunting world for doing what he does. But I never thought that was something I was going to be able to do. I always thought I was going to be a stalk and shoot type of hunter. But I'm going to tell you the tips that he gave us on the show that all the listeners got to hear. We heard the same thing. He didn't give us any secret insight that he didn't share on the show. But if there are a lot of benefits to using his calls, like he said, these are calls that he got, from the hogs that he's raised, the feral hogs that he's raised. The sounds are unlike anything that I've ever heard, mostly because in the past when you turn on an electric collar that does have some hog sounds, usually it's just one hog at a time in the call. But you can tell there's multiple hogs being recorded at one time, and it gives that real authentic sounding call that it's actually a sounder of hogs that's rooting around or something. But I got a lot of positive reaction from hogs starting to use this. In the last 7 days, I've called in 6 hogs now that I wouldn't have been able to get to without using a caller. But I
want to say one thing there. You say you called in 6. You've called in 6 that you got all the way up to you in your lap, or you killed them. Some of them you didn't kill. But you've got one video that I saw. You killed 2, and there was a bunch more small hogs behind them coming in. I mean, you were calling in a lot of hogs on that set right there.
Yeah, so there was one hog that came in really hard that was, and Glenn refers to him as the alpha, the alphas of the group, and this was an alpha sow. She ran in way faster and quicker than the rest of them, but there was a group of about 10 that were about 100 yards behind her, and they were heading in to the call as well. And I shot that first one and shot one on the run going back into the woods. But I have a video that I have not released yet. And Jason, you haven't even seen this yet. I've told you about it, but you haven't seen it.
I know.
But it's me parked on a county road at night with the truck running, and the running lights are on. I see a boar hog 200 yards out into a field. I get out of the truck. I'm standing by the truck, and I put the collar down, turn the collar on. He comes out of that field, worms his way underneath the barbed wire fence, and is running down the county road up to my truck within 20 feet. And I'm getting nervous. I'm backing up because I don't have my rifle. I'm not going to shoot on the county road because that's the last thing I need to do is get busted for something stupid like that. But I'm just filming with a handheld binocular. And he runs up within 20 feet of the truck. And I'm kind of backing up thinking, do I need to get back in the truck or what's going on? And he finally just kind of trots around the truck and goes into the ditch and then goes up into the woods. But, I mean, I could have ran up there and kicked him in the nose. That's how close he was. If I was
that would have made a better video. I would have loved to have seen that, yeah.
But you could see the hair on the back of his neck was raised up, and he was coming in looking for either a girlfriend or a fight, maybe both. I don't know.
He might have used you for both, a fight and a girlfriend.
Fight and a girlfriend. But I have not released that video, but I'm going to soon. And that's a great example of what calling hogs can do, and being able to manipulate the hog where you get them to do basically what you want them to do. And that's where you're bringing them to you instead of you trying to chase after them and catch up to them and get good shots and that kind of stuff. I'm excited. And I tell you what, I use that collar on every trip that I've been out since. I've taken that collar and I'm calling hogs now. I'm also doing some stalking and looking, but I don't go anywhere without that collar now. And my success rate has been outstanding. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm new at it, and I'm not even good with it yet. So I'm pretty impressed.
Well, I tell you, no joke. Hans went out the first night that he got it. I'd ordered him in, had him a couple days, and shipped him his. And I'd already played with it and thought it was amazing. And he got the thing first night. He called me like a kid on Christmas morning. I just called in. Oh, you're never going to. He told me the whole story, and I'm thinking, this is a fluke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the odds of Hans going out there with a little bit of, on the job training from Glenn and really calling in a hog, and then every time he goes out, he continues to do it. And I'm like, good gracious! Yeah. I'm telling you, folks, I'm rarely am I just blown away by something, the quality of something, but the Convergent call, the Bullet HP, amazing. It is very well built. It's some ingenious design, connects right to your phone. They've got a couple different phone apps that are actually free. Then you can pay a few dollars. I mean, not much. What is the Glenn's calls are what?
$1.99.
$3 or $4?
No,
was that it? $1.99.
So the app. Definitely recommend 100% to download. When you get the Convergent Bullet Collar, you're going to download the app that goes along with it. The Hog Pro app, and then there's a in-app purchase for Glenn's calls, which is $1.99. So altogether, when you purchase the app and Glenn's call, you're spending like $6.
But there's another app too. What is that?
Yeah, the Predator Pro.
The Predator Pro. Right. So there's another app that has, but I was a little confused by that. That's something we need to get some confirmation on. Even just the Hog Pro. Does it just hog sounds? I was thinking there was something. No, it's just hog sounds.
Yeah,
I
it's
couldn't
just hog
remember.
sound. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the other one has got an absolute ton of, I mean, a ton, everything from like woodpecker sounds to crow sounds to bobcats and heat. I mean, you name it for predators. It has a lot of cool stuff. And, the one thing I like about the color that, I mean, I know this is not necessarily unique that other callers have it, but it's got the little magnetic flag you can put on the top that'll, you can control there from the app and make it shake. And my kids just think that's the coolest thing. They just want to run that. But
and I did call a bobcat in with it, so I put it out to call in hogs. I literally had the hog call going for about 10 seconds, and my buddy said, "There's a bobcat." So I immediately switched over to bobcat in heat, and that bobcat got within 10 feet of the caller and was able to get him too. So, I mean,
yeah, watch that video. That video's on Instagram. You haven't put that on YouTube yet, have you?
No, that's going up pretty soon. But yeah, so
that's a great video. He nailed that big bobcat.
So I do want to give some tips because this show is all about helping people hog hunt. We're not, there's nothing, and I think, Jason, that's one thing we do. We're not holding any secrets in, so we have an advantage over everybody else. I think we spill our guts and we share everything we know.
Which is not much. So
we're sharing everything we know. So when you get the Convergent Bullet HP collar and you download the app and you purchase Glenn's calls, the first thing that I would suggest is similar to what Glenn said. When you start that call sequence, start at a very low volume. Start at 1/8 of full power or something like that, and then gradually work your way up. I think we have a lot of tendency to think, oh man, they can't hear it, in the woods that I'm calling to are 600 yards away. I have scared off hogs with it, and it wasn't the call's fault. It was my fault. I started the volume too high, and these hogs were 200 yards away, and I put it on almost full blast. They probably thought there was a 800-pound hog headed right at them, So it was my fault. But I've learned through screwing up, and I don't want anybody else to screw up like I have, but start at a low volume and gradually work your way up until a larger volume. Now, if you see hogs 400 or 500 yards away, they're going to be able to hear it without it being on full blast. I can guarantee you.
I think and the other thing is too, talking about the calls, and I'll let you speak to this, but Hans and I've talked about this, and I think it's a lot like deer hunting. A lot of times, if you've got does in the area, you can get out there with whether it's rattling antlers, whether it's a buck grunt, you can cause those females to go away.
Right.
They're not always looking for some big male that's aggressive and hopped up, and it's kind of like there's probably not a lot of ladies that are looking for those guys either. They hear that macho guy beating his chest, and they're like, oh my gosh, I got to get away from Tarzan. And so I think it's the same thing that you got to be careful turning on some big boar grunt just full blast, even if it's quiet out there. Let's say you don't see any, you turn that on. I'm gonna let you speak to what call you like here, Hans, but you turn on this big boar grunting around, there may be sows over there and piglets in the woods 75 yards away, and they may be heading for the hills.
Yeah. So the calls that I like to start with, and it's a kind of a low grunt, but it's on the app, it's called Hey Baby. It's just a real mellow kind of like a grunt, nothing crazy. From there, I'll let that run for 4 or 5 minutes, low volume, and I'll gradually work its way up. And then some calls that I've had good luck with, sow hysteria is one of the calls on the app that's great that I've called in a few hogs with. Total chaos on there, which is a bunch of grunts and squeals, boar magnet, and courting boars are all apps or calls that I've called in hogs with. But the biggest tip is the volume, being concerned about the volume. Also the wind, of course, just like anything else. You definitely want to be downwind and not upwind when you're calling to a hog. But that's pretty basic stuff. But those are the tips that I can offer right now. Like Jason said, we're both going to continue to use it. I'm going to be, y'all know I'm going to be using it a bunch. I've had a lot of success. But stay tuned to our YouTube channels. to our Instagram and Facebook pages because we'll be posting videos with it. I told somebody on the phone today, I don't get very impressed with hunting products. I just don't do it. The last time I was impressed with something was the first time I looked through a thermal when I'd been looking through night vision. That was the last time I was impressed. I'm definitely blown away by this collar and the calls and Glenn Guess's calls that go along with it. It's one of the best things that is going on out there right now. If you're
agree. And I agree because, just me showing this call to a couple people, talking about it to some buddies, and people get excited and they go, okay, this is legitimate. This is not just, some wives' tale about calling in hogs. And I had immediately 2 people say, can you sell me one? I was like, well, I don't know. Not a dealer for them. So anyway, Hans had several people asking, and I said, okay, I guess all I sell is night vision and thermal, period. But this is an accessory that we can, legitimately recommend. We're both blown away by it. So last week, at the end of the week, I called over to Convergent, talked to them. Great guys that just happened to be right down the road from Hans. We did not know that.
Yeah.
And they're, right down the road there. Super group of guys. I talked to the owner a very long time. Great guy. I talked to one of the salesmen there. Anyway, long story short, we've got these calls in the warehouse at Outdoor Legacy right now. They've got the complete system. We've got the basic kit. They're ready to roll. And again, for me to pick up something, this is the first item I've got in the store that is not night vision, thermal, or a direct attachment accessory to them. And this is absolutely worth it. And, one thing I'm going to tell you, Glenn made this comment and he harped on this in our private conversations with Hans and he and I before the show and since then. And he didn't want to, just, I think, beat it to death on the show. But he said, guys, you need to use the Convergent collar. You can download the app. You can download the app right now while you're listening to this show, and you can play the sounds. You can listen to them on your phone. And he said, there's a lot of guys that try to say, oh, I've got a little Bluetooth speaker I'll put out there. He goes, it is not the same. And he's absolutely right. I have played with this speaker, and it's I know I'll get into all this again. It's a cone-shaped speaker. It is excellent. It makes a huge difference over a standard Bluetooth speaker. Not saying you couldn't call a hog in with it, but this thing is legit. So anyway, we just didn't intend to probably talk that long, but I'm impressed.
I want to add one more thing before we round this segment out, but talking about hog hunting and it being exciting, it used to be stalking up on a hog, that's a couple hundred yards away and stalking up within 40 or 50 yards was pretty exciting. And it is exciting. I'm going to tell you right now, there is nothing more exciting and something that gives you tingles than calling in a hog from 400 yards away and bringing that thing right up to you. And that's exciting. That gives me a rush more than anything I've ever done with hog hunting, stalking, hunted, baited spots, anything else. There's no better rush you're going to get than being able to call in a hog and get that thing to come within basically steps of you. That's a rush.
Well, Glenn and I were talking, and he said, you know what you're going to do when you start calling these hogs in first few times? And I said, what's that? He said, miss them. And I said, why is that? And he said, well, besides the fact that you're going to be so excited, he said, a lot of people that I carry hunting, he said, they miss them. And he said, it's 2 reasons. It's the excitement of you're doing this and it's working and you're bringing them in. He said, but number 2 is, he said, most people are used to going to the hogs. Mm-hmm. They're not used to shooting a hog that is coming to them.
Right.
And he said, so it's moving and it's moving towards you. And he said, that's just a whole different shot, a whole different placement. You got to let him turn. And I was like, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. But watching Glenn's videos and then seeing these hogs coming into this call, I'm like, I can absolutely see what he's talking about. You've got to time it different. You're gonna have to wait till they turn, and so anyway, pretty neat. I was very impressed with this thing. So anyway, that's our story on them for now, and I know we're both going to be back with more info on them later.
Go check them out on OutdoorLegacyGear.com. Got the collars for sale. If you have any questions about it, shoot me a private message on Instagram. I've talked to a bunch of people. I think I've probably sold about 20 of them for other people right now because I've been talking about them so much. But hey, we do have some updates on a couple scopes, right?
We do. Yeah. It is official, and it's probably not a big news to people right now if they've been on social media much, but the Envision Halos are in stock. I am holding one in my hand. This is the regular Halo. The Halo LR, which is the long-range model, is going to be in stock by the time that this show airs. And so if you are looking for a Halo, we have them in stock as well. And these are amazing units too. I know that we're talking about how impressed we've been with things, but in my opinion, Hans, and I'm going to let you comment, but this not only met, but it exceeded my expectations of what the image quality was really going to be like.
From the time we saw it at the SHOT Show, there was a lot of talk about it. This unit has all of the same features and insides as a Trijicon, and it sounded great. We saw it at the SHOT Show. It looked great in a convention hall with 50,000 people walking around. But man, I have not got a chance to take it out and hunt with it yet. I'm actually building a new rifle that is going to be done tomorrow, and the Halo is going on the new rifle, which I'm very excited about. But everything I've seen with it so far, it does live up to all the expectations and the hype that was presented out there in the months leading up to this. So, I look forward to shooting some videos with it, killing some hogs, really focusing on giving the viewers and listeners a good idea as far as ranges, what a hog looks like at 400 yards, 300 yards, and so on. And, we've seen a lot of videos out there right now. We look forward to putting our own out. And, from everything we've seen, the hype is real.
Yeah, it is. I have not killed anything with it. I have been in the field with it several times, and it's legit. I mean, it is absolutely. And we're not going to give a full review of it here. We're going to save that for another episode when we have killed stuff with it and we have spent more time. But I think I can say, and I don't know. I mean, I'm going to say this, but I think that it's true from my usage of it, and I'm going to wait, and I don't want you to say because I'm going to let you give your opinion later, but I think that the image quality is going to nudge out my Trijicon Reef IR. I mean, the clarity that I'm seeing out of this unit, and I'm going to tell you something else. When we did our review on the Reap IR, my complaint was I personally didn't like the joystick. I didn't like it on the right-hand side, and I know doesn't bother a lot of people.
I tell you, I was thinking about that. This scope, the Halo, is built for you. The buttons are on
they
the
built
left-hand
it
side.
for me. The buttons are on the left-hand side. That is the free hand of a right-handed shooter, and I'm going to tell you, they're well laid out. I've been able in the dark to reach up there with a little bit of muscle memory and feel those buttons and realize which one was which and what they do. I'm going to, again, I don't want to give a full review here, but I'm going to say one more thing that really impressed me. I was on the phone with NVision today, and I complimented them on this. Of all the things, they include in the box a heavy laminated, I don't know what size those cards are, probably 5x7 or maybe 5x8.
It's like little postcard size.
Yeah, heavy laminated on like a ring, the basic instructions, and not just basic instructions. It goes into detail and describes what every one of the image adjustments does and what the normal base setting is, like a recommended setting. That is huge.
Right.
Because you go into a lot of scopes. I know the FLIRs, there's tons of adjustments you can make, and I just screw it up and have to do a factory reset and go back to the defaults because you don't know what you're even doing. This tells you exactly what those adjustments are and like what the base or the normal is. So they spent a lot of time doing that. Very nice unit. Again, if you're looking for a high-end, I want to say best image quality out there, I think it is. This is it. Definitely, we will be back with full reviews on those after we get out in the field and do some hunting. So anyway, that's the Halos are here and in stock.
Yep, they will be. We'll be putting out some videos very soon. But I know the majority of the calls that we're getting right now, Jason, are all about one scope, the Wraith.
Oh, man. We should have talked about this at the beginning of the show so that maybe we could have been sure that everybody heard it. The phone has rang off the hook. Again, we're not going to give a review of it here. We're going to do that later. But I can honestly, without a doubt, I mean, I have told Hans this. I've told my wife this. I've told everybody. I have never had a single pre-order thermal or night vision scope that has generated the pre-orders, the phone calls, the emails, the buzz that the Sightmark Wraith HD has. That I mean, I have talked about it till I'm blue in the face, and I don't mind, but it is insane. I have sold more of these units, pre-sold them with deposits, than any optic ever times 2. I mean, it has been, and here's the thing, we ran out. Okay, if we would have had more, we would have sold twice as many. I mean, and I say we ran out, meaning all that Sightmark's going to ship us. So here's the news: all of my guys that are on the guaranteed original first pre-order, they all got phone calls from my office manager a week ago, which would have been, by the time they hear this, will be longer than that. They'd all gotten phone calls and said, hey, these things are supposed to be shipping towards the end of that week, and get ready, and we're going to invoice you, and everybody's on go. Then we got some news. Last Thursday night, Sightmark called me, Jeff Murray over there that we interviewed at the SHOT Show. Jeff called and said, hey, it's not bad news, but it's news that the Wraiths aren't going to ship this week. And I'm like, oh no, what happened? And he goes, hey, he said, we're updating the firmware. We want to make one change in the firmware, and we really want to do it before we ship them out. He said users will be able to update their own firmware if they need to via an SD card. He said, but we want to do it, and it's a minor little thing that we're doing, but we just don't want to send it to people and then say, oh, we want you to update this. Right. So I said, hey, no problem. They did it. This is actually, what is today? We're recording on Monday, Tuesday. Jeff called me today and said, hey, good news, the Wraiths are shipping this week. Yep. So hopefully by the time this airs, the Wraiths will either have shipped out of Sightmark or maybe Friday at the latest. So we should be getting them by the beginning of next week. And that'll be, I'm sure all the other dealers will be getting theirs as well. And so I know people have been very anxious for the last 2 or 3 weeks, but I want to go on the record here. And if Sightmark happens to be listening to this, I want to say thank you, because they've had these units for a couple weeks here in Texas in their facility. They've been testing them. I've gotten video. They were recoil testing them. They have been putting them through the works. My understanding is that they hand checked every single unit that came in. Quality control checked it. And that is amazing customer service. I'm so glad they did that before. We've talked about some other companies that don't have great customer service that have been known to put these kind of scopes out and go, yeah, we got problems, but we're going to ship them anyway. We'll deal with that later. Right. And so I'm not saying there's not going to be any problems. I'm not going to say nothing could sneak up, but they don't know about it. because they have gone through and tested all of these. And so I told them, I said, Jeff, and I mean this, I said, I don't care if it takes you another month. Just get it right before you ship it. And he said, hey, we're going to do it. We said, we're going to make it right. And so anyway, I'm glad about that. So hopefully they will be. Hey, one more thing on the race I want to mention. This is something that a lot of people don't know about. I have in stock today, don't even have the race, but I have these in stock. It is a quick detach mount for the Wraith. The mount that comes on it is about a 3.5, 4 inch long mount that from what it looks like to me, and I'm trying to remember back to the SHOT Show, it's got two little like Allen screws in it. You put that on. It is not said to be a return to zero mount, and it's not quick detach because you do have to use an Allen wrench and put those on. I did acquire a large amount of quick detach mounts for the Wraith, and they are in stock. They are I believe the price is about $59, $60 on them. They're about, again, 3.5 to 4 inches long. They look extremely similar to the quick detach mount that Pulsar makes for the Pulsar trails and all those units. Right. The only real difference, it's the same length. The only difference is it has two QD locking levers, and it should be a return to zero mount. We don't have a Wraith to test it on yet, so we're waiting for those, but it is quick detach, and it is a great looking mount. If you want those can be bought today. They are in stock. So even if you ended up with a Wraith from somewhere else, we do have those available. There is a limited number of them, and my understanding is that it's going to be a pretty good while before there will be any more of them. But I just wanted to throw that out. We'll probably mention those on another episode because I don't think many people know about them right now.
Yeah. So, everybody stay tuned because we've got, the next 2 and 3 weeks, we've got a lot of good content. We're, like we said, we're talking about the Halo. We're going to be talking about the Wraiths. Hopefully both of us will have time to go out and use those in the field, get some video, get at least a good idea and enough information to do a good review on it. So we'll be coming and doing that here very soon. But with that, Jason, is there anything else you want to close with?
I think we're good. I can't think of anything major. I think everything's going smooth. So still waiting on some inventory, some Pulsar stuff to come in. A little bit of FLIR is shipped, but a lot of stuff still on hold in the market. But no, I think we're good to go.
So with that, we want to thank you all again. Thank you for checking out the 2 interviews with Glenn Guess. Probably one of our highest rated interview shows that we've done. And we look forward to having him on again very soon. Please go check out, for all of your night vision, thermal, scope, and optics needs, go check out OutdoorLegacyGear.com. You can always give Jason, if you're interested in purchasing something, you can give Jason a call at 877-350-1818. Please check us out on all the socials with the Late Night Vision Show. Go check us out on YouTube, and please give us a subscribe. Watch the videos over there. It's a little bit more entertaining sometimes than listening on the car radio. I understand if you're on the go, but there's some funny things that Jason and I do that we probably don't know are on camera, but end up there anyway. So go check that out on YouTube. Also, you can find us, the Late Night Vision Show, on Facebook and also on Instagram. As always, you can check out Outdoor Legacy Gear on YouTube, also with Facebook and Instagram, and you can find me, that's HansETX, on YouTube and Instagram. No Facebook, don't have time for it, and just stick with one thing. I like pictures. I like showing pictures. So go check out my pictures over on Instagram and check out the videos. I'm dropping videos every week, so go stay tuned for all the hunting videos. But
I think what Hans just said was he doesn't like words. He just likes the books with pictures. So
I've always been that way, man. That you ain't telling nobody that knows me anything new. I can tell you that. But thank you all for joining us this week. Please contact us. You can always email us at thelatenightvisionshow@gmail.com. You can text us your pictures, your hog and coyote kill pictures, and we'll share those on social media. That phone number is 903-833-4461. With that, we appreciate you again joining us this week. We'll be back next week with more information, new reviews on new scopes, and some more hog and coyote hunting. Y'all take care. Be safe in the fields. We'll see y'all next week.